All right, just when you thought there couldn't possibly be another social media tool added to the market, along comes Google+. It's the latest craze in social media, and though a lot of people thought it would be a flop, much like Google Wave or Google Buzz, Google+ is actually gaining popularity, even exceeding their initial capacity for users. So how do Facebook and Twitter finally have a competitor? Do they have something to really worry about? Julia Boorstin is with us. Molly Wood is the executive editor at CNET. Thanks, Molly. And Julia? Or is Molly's not with us? Molly's not with us. Sorry about that. Hi, Julia. What do you think?
Well, she's logging in somewhere.
Well, you know, this is interesting. I've been seeing so much chatter about this over the weekend, and I signed on myself. I'm trying to get my head around it. What are you hearing about Google+ in terms of its reality of threatening Twitter and Facebook?
I'm hearing a lot of very positive buzz. I mean, I think there's a lot of skepticism, especially after Google Buzz, the product, and Google Wave were such disappointments. But the people I'm talking to in Hollywood and Silicon Valley, a lot of really high-profile people are having fun experimenting with it. And I think that right now it has a couple of things working in its favor. One of which is the fact that it's still exclusive. People still want to get an invitation, and it's also new. People always like to play with a new toy. So they're trying to figure out what it is. And Google really has the main advantage of the fact that people already use Google products. Most of the people I've been talking to already use Gmail, and they also use Picasa. And if they use, then that means they might also use Google Calendar, so they can integrate all of those things into Google+ without that much hassle.
Of course, you have to then decide, do you want to manage all these social networks? But, you know, I'm sitting here trying to think, can I really do my Google+ and my Twitter and my Facebook, or do you give one up? And at the same time, you have somebody like Bill Gross over at Idealab. He's out tweeting that he thinks this thing could have 100 million users in no time at all. And, you know, that to me is the issue.
I think it does have the advantage of already having, you know, Google already has so many users. It'll be very easy for them to ramp up and get to that many users. But I don't know if it's clear yet if people are going to dump Facebook and Twitter yet. I mean, the thing about Google+ and its real advantage is that you can have public circles and you can have private circles. And it's pretty easy to see who can access which pieces of information, unlike Facebook where you have groups and it's a little harder to figure out. But with this, I do think it has an advantage of being a little bit like Facebook and a little bit like Twitter. But no one yet is jumping ship from Facebook. People are now trying it out and thinking about how they're going to maybe have all of their updates posted.
Let me jump in for a second, Julia. It sounds like what you're saying is that there may be in some ways more privacy on Google than on Facebook.
Well, I think that right now it seems like the privacy circles are pretty clear. So on Facebook, there is tons of privacy. There are tons of privacy controls, but it's just a little bit more complicated when you're posting your information. I mean, it's harder to be able to have a public post and a private post on Facebook. On Google+, I could go put something out there for the whole world to see and then also have something just for my family. So on Google+, it's just easier to understand exactly who is seeing what.
Well, you know, Julia, I guess when I look at it, and I know I have to learn a new vocabulary, and that's not a problem, and we get there, but there's a geek factor. And the real question is whether you actually can, this will get beyond just the geeks using it and the real techno people who understand the technology to the rest of us. And that's when, if they can get beyond that geek factor, people think it could actually become a true challenge.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, right now, the highest estimate I've seen for people using Google+ is 5 million people. And if that number is accurate, it's remarkably high. That means that this product has ramped up really quickly, but we're still not in the total mainstream yet. These are still early adopters and people who like to have the next big thing and are willing to spend some time to figure things out. So we'll see whether once it hits the mainstream, once everyone who is using Gmail is on it, once they still want to use it.
All right, Julia Boorstin, talking about Google+ and Facebook. Julia, thank you very much.